What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Two Knicks Chicks. I'm your girl, Lady and the Chef, joined by my co-host today.
D Blox 21, what's up?
It was a close win. Um, it's a close win with the Knicks playing against Detroit yesterday. I don't know why the Knicks don't seem to be able to beat Detroit for whatever reason. Um, they can beat them rather, but it always seems to be a close game whenever we play them. Not sure why and what's the reasoning behind that. Um, Yesterday's game, I thought it was close throughout the entire game for the most part. Um, I don't know what it is about Detroit that the Knicks can't seem to get a big enough lead and to be able to maintain that lead throughout the game. Yet this is one of those games where Detroit who has nothing to lose, came out with high energy. They were able to pull off almost a win against the Knicks. The Knicks only beat them by 2 points, and that came down to a very stressful last 30 seconds of the game. And where the Knicks kind of got lucky because the refs were calling the game pretty loosely and didn't call that last foul on Dante DiVincenzo.
Well,
The Knicks,
actually, they made an error, and they said that that was a call that they missed, unlike the similar situation that the Knicks faced, about 2 weeks ago. So no, in hindsight, the refs made an error and they admitted it. So
yeah, well, they made an error when the Knicks played the last game and they made an error there. That's neither
do
here or
that.
there. I mean, the refs tend to do that, and that's when they made that error on Jalen Brunson when they said he fouled on the 3-point shot against, I can't remember what team that was, but the
It
ref
was the
said
Rockets.
afterwards, yeah, that that shouldn't have been called as a foul. So, I get the refs are not going to always get it right, but the fact that, I mean, to me, I don't really think it was a foul. I thought it was a clean dive in, and the twin didn't have the ball when he,
Come
thought he had the ball. He didn't have the ball. But either way, the Knicks shouldn't have allowed Detroit to be in that game the entire game. It's just unacceptable. Even with the injuries, the Knicks are still a better team, and you have a better makeup of a team. And yes, Detroit is the NBA. It's a professional league. Those guys are out there with energy in the play. Whatever. The Knicks won 113 to 111. The Knicks are now at 35 and 23. Pretty much stat wise for the game, the Knicks shot 44% from the field. They were at 38 percent from the 3-point line. Detroit was at 46. The Knicks was 16 for 21 from the free throw line at 76%. Knicks finished with 44 rebounds. Detroit had 42. Knicks had 15 offensive boards and 29 defensive. The Knicks did finish with 31 assists, 4 blocks. Both teams finished with 9 steals. The Knicks have 14 turnovers and only 42 points in the paint. And one thing that I'm noticing with the Knicks is that the points in the paint have been down and the turnovers have been high, which are two things that are definitely, hurting them and, with these games. But I mean, were you surprised at the closeness of the game because this happened the last time we played Detroit? Or did you think because of the injuries, this was how the game was going to play out?
Yes and no. And yes, because they tend to play down with teams, and I've said this before, that the Knicks know that they are, I guess, I don't, superior, we can say, yeah, but they know that they are the better team. But somehow they always play down for teams that are under 500 or just on that cuffs that they know that this is a winnable team, a winnable game. And no, because these I always say when these kids is young, these cats is young, they run. And so, they use, their quickness and just, their agility for and try to out, smarter outplay, a team like the Knicks. So
Hmm.
yes and no, but it was just very, just like concerning, like, why did it have to come down to that last like second shot where just the sloppy turnovers, and again, like you just alluded to, the turnovers are increasing. They got it, under 10 at one point for a few games, and now it's just like rising.
Yeah,
Um, but again, that last, those last second plays, I'm listen here, diehard Knicks fan. My eyes, they cannot do anything wrong, but that was a foul on DiVincenzo. This is not football, my man. This is basketball. That was a tackle, and again, I'm a diehard Knicks fan. I took it as well, although different refs, but it was like, okay, we owe you one because they still rep for the same organization, the NBA. So it was sort of like, well, okay, well, this is that makeup game, or this is that game that you guys, but then it now hurts a team like Detroit, so now they're livid. So, that these refs, they got to get it right, because during the
yeah.
playoffs, you cannot make these mistakes. This is
Hmm. I
like this is
agree.
what teams are hanging in your hands, whether they advance or not, or because of a call that you miss, and now you turn around and says, "Oh, I missed the call." Nah, nah,
Yeah.
they got to get this right, and they need to like get it. This is time to correct this, but. Overall, I'm happy for the win. A win is a win is a win. Like Alan Hahn and Wally Zerbiak said, a win is a win is a win. And, we thankful that we was able to pull it out.
Yeah, I agree with that in that I'll take the win. It wasn't a pretty win. I didn't really have a high expectation because like I said, when we played Detroit before, it was a very close game. But I do think that that was one of those games with that last second call that the refs were basically giving it to the Knicks because they messed up when the Knicks played um who was it? Houston. And
Houston,
they
yeah.
made that horrible call on Jalen Brunson. So, but again, you can't go off of like, well, we missed the last game a few games back, so we'll give you this one. It can't be that. I agree with you that the refs have to get better at calling what it is and what's it's going to be. Because again, with the playoffs approaching, I agree 100% with you. You can't be making those kind of mistakes, when teams are they're essentially looking to move ahead and the game relies on the referee at the end of the day when it comes down to those calls, and sometimes those calls could be make or break for a team. And I think also even now throughout the season, because you have teams who are looking to get certain placing within the Eastern or the Western Conference standings. So you have to be more mindful about the calls that you're making, but I think that even to be honest, if the Knicks were healthy, I think this would have been a close game. If you had Randall and OG, it would have been a close game because for some reason when the Knicks played Detroit, we just can't seem to like pull away from them being a young team. And then you had guys like Quentin Grimes scoring 14 points in a fourth. He decided to wake up and have energy. And he was doing things that we haven't seen him do in the Knicks.
Yeah. Okay.
But I
He
think
was
when
resurrected. So hey, I'm happy for him.
But you know what I think that comes from? I think that comes from when you're playing on a team who they're not necessarily good together. You can kind of outshine, and I think that that's what's going to happen with Fournier, and that's what happened essentially with Alex Burke. That's why he looked good because sure he's been in the league long enough, but I think because that team doesn't play well together, he was able to shine in his own right. Because
Yeah.
when you look at Burks now in the Knicks, to me, he's just not a fit. He's not a great, and I talked about this the last episode. He's not a good fit at the point guard, the backup point guard position. I think he's
Okay.
better more at a shooting guard, but I think backing up Brunson, I don't like Alex Burke for that position.
No, I don't either. And I think, eventually, he has to just gain his footing, everybody's thing is what he knows Tibbs' system. I think, eventually he'll get it, but I agree. The point guard, now we can, he
I'm
could
not
fall back
comfortable.
off of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
for
not
sure.
comfortable with him bringing up the ball.
Agree.
And then he just, I don't know, his energy just seems to be like Eb was saying a few episodes ago in the ladies' night episode. Shout out to Ebony and shout out to Queen. She was saying Alex Burke still looked like he's on Detroit. And I agree. It's just the energy is just not there for me. He looks a little lost. He looks like he doesn't know what's going on the floor. You know, you're not really doing anything points wise for us. He has 7 points yesterday. Bojan had 13.6 rebounds. Dante DiVincenzo had 21, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. Jalen Brunson had a double double, finished with 35 points, 12 points. Isaiah Hartenstein played had
Well, assists.
12 assists, 35 points. Isaiah Hartenstein finished with 8 rebounds, 6 points, 4 assists. Precious Achua finished with 11 rebounds, and Josh Hart had 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 23 points. But I think again with that going on, great. The Knicks got the much needed win. I'm not sure how that's going to play out tonight, considering the Knicks are Brunsonless and Isaiah Hartenstein are both out.
Yeah.
So
Also,
whether
how are they listed day to day? They
well
officially
they
ruled it.
they ruled them out for
Oh
tonight's game.
wow.
So Brunson said he woke up this morning with neck spasms, and I heart the Achilles is bothering him again. And this
Wow.
is why, and Chumpin, if you remember who mentioned this in the chat the last episode, who they said, I think it was Parrish Duggar, and he said, did y'all read the article about Isaiah Hartenstein and he was complaining about not getting enough minutes? And I
Yeah.
was shocked because I didn't see that. And you said, oh yeah, I read that. And I said, but why would you be complaining? And you're not even at 100%. So what are you complaining about that you didn't get the minutes that you wanted to get when look, your Achilles is bothering you again and you can't even play? And
Yeah.
that's why I stand by what I said. Isaiah Hartenstein needs to just sit down, just relax.
Yeah, he played 27 minutes yesterday, and
Mhm.
he could the game before that he played 11, so he was upset because he thought he was gonna bump up to 21. He thought he was gonna work his way up. Well, you did, and now look what happened. It's serious. You
Exactly.
you you. I mean, we need all available bodies. This is coming down to the home stretch, and really for the playoffs. But like you said, now look what happens.
I just think that Tibbs needs to sit guys like Brunson. I mean, play him limited because you don't really have a solid other point guard option. Miles McBride is not going to be able to get the job done throughout an entire game, and neither is Alex Burke. But Isaiah Hartenstein, to me, he should be sitting down, he should be resting and getting ready for the playoffs,
He
not
should,
playing these games that we have now.
but you need a big, to guard that paint. Otherwise, he's look at what Boston. I mean, it's not a good comparison, but I think it was the game that before that. Unfortunately, we need somebody, a big, Precious as much as he tries.
And
You
he
know,
lacks the height. Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
yeah,
So, and since he's coming along, but he's not there yet.
he's not there
So
yet. Mhm.
you can't just solely rely on him. Yeah, he and possibly he may start at this point if Hartenstein is not playing. So now it's gonna have to be Sims and Achua and Hart and DiVincenzo and I guess McBride for the most part. At
But
this
that's why I was saying when we first started at the top of the season, that's why I never liked the way this Knicks team was constructed as far as we never really had solid backups for a lot of our main starting five players. We never had a solid backup for Randall. We've never had a solid backup for Jalen Brunson. You had a backup, sure, you could say from Mitch to Isaiah Hartenstein, but I kept saying after Mitch went out, And we can roll the tapes because I will make a compilation if I have to and go back and and pull them
You
out
got
and edit it.
receipts.
Right. I kept saying, because I was a big component. The Knicks don't have a bench. I've been saying this from the rip since this season started. And I never felt comfortable with the second unit going out there. Now, even when the Knicks found their identity, cool. The Knicks found their identity and, you know, playing together, great. But I never was comfortable with the Knicks not having solid backups to your main guys who are out there on the floor, just because I felt like I always would say, God forbid there's an injury. Who do you have? Jalen Brunson's the last one standing. I'm knocking on wood now. You gotta
Mhm.
hope that he don't have no major injury and that you can keep him sustainable throughout the remainder of the season because a lot of people we talked about this, discussed this on our last episode. They say it doesn't really matter where the Knicks. I don't think the Knicks should worry about where they land on the East. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what NBA version they're watching, if it's Euro style or if it's American style and here in the States. I think the Knicks do need to watch where they land in the East because it can hurt them and bite them in the butt come playoff time.
For
And the
sure.
way where you land, it really affects you. It becomes a domino effect. And I think injuries happen. I was listening to Michael K earlier, and Peter Rosenberg was saying how he just feels like I brought this up to you too. He said there's something in New York with New York teams. This he said between the Yankees, the Giants, the Mets, the Knicks. They said the only team that really didn't have to deal with this was the New York Liberty,
I think it's
dealing with
good.
injuries. But it's true. And Don was like, yeah, but that happens. It's part of playing sports. Injuries happen. And it's true. You just have to hope as you're competing that the team could stay healthy. But and it's funny too, because like a guy like Randall, who's never really been injury prone, unfortunately suffered one last year in the playoffs, comes back, and then he has this happen with the shoulder, right? I just think that with the Knicks, it is a very unfortunate situation with the injuries, and unfortunately, I get it happens. But I don't think that this Knicks team, without your four guys, core guys that are out right now, Julius, OG, now Hartenstein, you gotta hope that Dante DiVincenzo stays healthy. I just don't. I don't know how I feel about this team trying to pull out. Now we're at 25 games remaining, or 24, 25 games, being able to win a solid amount of those games, finishing off the regular season strong. And I'm not panicked, but a game like tonight, where the Knicks are going to be playing against New Orleans, I don't know. I think tonight's going to be a good indicator of. I hope the front office also is watching throughout the remainder of this regular season that even if you do try to go after this big splash playoff uh, player in the off season, you have to get a solid backup to Jalen Brunson. He cannot go through the whole season next year carrying a team on his back, and there's nobody who can come in behind him and orchestrate the offense and bring up the ball comfortably. Whether he's getting full court pressed, double, triple teamed, I just don't like that, and I think that that's something that the Knicks really have to strongly consider. And then what do you do with a case like Randall, OG, Mitch? I mean,
Well,
where do you go moving forward?
well, in hindsight, well, in retrospect, they expected to come back.
Mhm.
I know someone just said there was news that dropped on Randall OG. OG is expected. Nixon Nice just said that. I mean, OG is expected to visit the doctor, I think, this week, the first or something like that. Hopefully, he gets some good news where he could at least, start, dribbling the ball at least or shooting. So let's just cross our fingers with that. Um, I saw on Randall's IG he was practicing with somebody. So
Hmm.
and he's been, out there shooting, before the Knicks, they for practice. So, these are things that, they look good, but again, you still got, especially with Randall, you can't, you don't want to treat that. And same thing with Mitch. So he's been, just doing some reps. And I guess it's just a matter of time, um, A, before they get the okay, and B, the player has to feel like they are ready, and C, they could potentially just holding them out, for as long as they can, and definitely, to the players, because that's when it matters. These guys, they they're banking on that they can carry and sustain them until those core players come back. And
Hmm.
I just would like to believe that they're gonna try to make it back in April sometime. You know,
Yeah, I agree. I would love to see guys come back in April. I just think that even in the month of March, most of these guys still need to sit, especially Isaiah Hartenstein. If you're still complaining about soreness on that
yeah,
left Achilles, you just need to sit down. I mean, Jericho Sims, Precious Achua, next man up. And that's two guys who are going to be starting tonight. According to Fred Katz, he said Nick starters tonight is Miles McBride, Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Precious Achua, and Jericho Sims. I mean, and then if you think about it, those guys are going to have to play a lot of minutes. Because you can't really look to the bench. Tibbs can't really look to the bench and go, okay, well, I have options. Who do you have? Toppin,
well,
Jacob?
if need be, you're gonna have to play them. But just salute to salute AJ. Just overall for the game from yesterday. We got the win. You know, like they said, them Nova boys, they stepped up, and this is what we're gonna need from Josh and Dante for tonight's game. Don't shy away now. So we gonna need you guys to step up and play gritty with some physicality. Deuce. You know what I said about Deuce. With I like it that Brunson is like his little security blanket. He plays very well in the backcourt with them. Well,
Hmm.
he's not playing, so Deuce, you got a tall task ahead of you. But this
Yeah.
is why they gave you that money. They didn't give it to you just to be handing it out, So you got to deliver.
Yeah, I think I'm very interested to see how the offense looks tonight. Um, you know, Brunson is very crafty. He has great footwork. He knows how to get to the basket. And I think I'm going to be paying close attention to the ball movement. You know, it's just, I'm not, like I said, I'm not hitting the panic button. But I think that watching the games is going to be very tough to watch without damn near half of the team missing to play in a game. So, I don't know. I think that the Knicks are capable of pulling out some wins, but the way the schedule is looking with New Orleans tonight, and then Thursday the Knicks play against the Warriors, and then they play again on Sunday against Cleveland. And the Warriors have been playing pretty good as of late, and Cleveland has been on a tear. And it sucks that we can't play both of those teams, including New Orleans tonight, with a healthy roster. Um, but it's not to say that the Knicks cannot make up ground in the playoffs with healthy player guys back and they're together. So I just think that it's still important to me that the Knicks pull out a decent amount of wins. And the Knicks need to really try to stick within no that third if they can get into third. But I would say don't dip no further than fourth.
For sure. Well, the Pelicans they lost yesterday to the Bulls. Um, so they're the one that got to travel. I mean, and that's what these guys got to show. Like, well, yeah, Brunson is our leader. He's a point guard, but you got to be able to win without him. Like, you, you, you just have to.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was what I was harping on our last episode on Saturday. I kept saying how the makeup of this roster of who we have currently that can play, these guys have to learn how to win with all the injuries. I was saying how Josh Hart, Precious Achua, Miles McBride, Bojan Bogdan, they have to learn how to win games. And one of the things I was saying was they have to learn how to win with Jalen Brunson, but these guys have to learn how to win games.
Period.
You can't rely on just saying, "Well, we're going to be waiting on Julius Randle to come back and OG." You got to learn how to win without them, and I think that the Knicks can figure out how to win some of these games without them. But you can't go on a 5 game, 6 game losing streak. You got to win some of these games and capitalize on getting W's. The Knicks, when healthy, are very capable of beating anybody in the league. But I think
Yep.
with the injuries, you're still getting paid millions of dollars. You have to go out there and give it your best effort and really go out there and try to win games. So Knicks and I said, I'm glad others get to play. Tired of ISO Jalen Brunson. But my thing is, what other option does he have with so many injured players out? If he doesn't do what he does, who else is filling in those other nifty, crafty baskets that he's getting? Who else is going to do that on the team?
People can say what they want. He's a ball hogger, but to me, he's a shooter. He's a scorer, and this is what they brought him here for.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that you know, I think this is a game where people who say those things will see like, yeah, they do need him. They need that guy.
Yep.
Cuz now you have to hope that Miles McBride is able to score tonight because he's been kind of quiet the last handful of games. He hasn't really been giving you that 14, 12, 14, 16 points. So can he do that tonight, or is his focal point going to mainly be I have to orchestrate and get guys the ball and run the offense? You
Yeah.
know, can he handle being able to score and handle the ball and run the ball up the floor, or is it just going to be him mainly just okay? I got to make sure I'm running the plays, get past the ball, get guys the ball, feed whoever down low. So I think these guys can do it if they go back to that uh team ball mentality. The starters are Miles McBride, Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Precious Achua, and Jericho Sims. Those are the starters for tonight. McBride, DiVincenzo, Hart, Achua, and Sims. I mean, they don't have many options.
I'm just a few.
That's who it's gonna be. It's yeah, but honestly, I don't even want to rush Randall back. I think Randall, OG, and Hartenstein shouldn't come back till April because then you worry about somebody aggravating something right before the playoffs. I mean, and if they do come back, maybe come back the last 5, 6 games just so you can play together, get your feet wet, gel together as a team, and then get prepared for the playoffs. But I'm not rushing them back, and that's why I was saying what I said to Diva lots earlier. Not sure why Hartenstein was complaining that Tibbs didn't play him when he initially came back from All Star break, that he only played 11 minutes, and this is why. You're still dealing with soreness. And remember, I even said to you, Hartenstein didn't even look like he was 100%. He looked like he was trying to, and not because he was off or guys was bullying him. He looked like the effort he couldn't give it as much as he normally does. He did have a nice block or two yesterday's game in Detroit, but I don't know. I don't I'm not seeing what he normally does, and I think it's because he's trying to fight through and play through the pain. You
But
know, we don't need you trying to fight through pain. I would rather you just try to get the win and get the W. Your predictions for tonight's game?
um, I got the Knicks winning. I'm just banking on the Knicks winning.
Yeah. I think because they could use all the wins they can. It's so important that the Knicks don't end up in seventh, eighth, hell, even sixth. I think they really need to. They have to 150% each player. There's really no room for anybody to play crappy. And not everybody's going to be on every night. I understand that. Some guys are going to be off. It's not going to be their night. But there's other things that you can do to contribute towards the team getting that W. So I don't know. This week's games is a little,
Well, I had him at 2-2, and I
yeah, same.
really had him losing against New Orleans, but I'm gonna change that, and I'm gonna go for them to get the win. Play some scrappy ball, and
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because the next two are definitely going to be toughies. Warriors and then Cleveland. Those are going to be some tough games for the Knicks with the amount of injuries. Now, hopefully they can get Jalen Brunson back for those next two games for Thursday's game against the Warriors and then have him back Sunday against Cleveland. Isaiah Hartenstein, I still want him to sit down because they're going to need him later on. That's Aj said, "Come on, lady. Prediction is always a Knicks win." That's what Diva Lock does. She's good with the predictions. Usually, her predictions are pretty spot on. So I don't know. I'm going in. I'm going in very optimistic and with positivity. I'm just a little like my nerves are bad because of these injuries got my nerves messed up.
listen, I'm going for the W. Listen, that's all I can say. I'm going for the dub. We gonna get this one.
I
I'm
mean,
optimistic.
and you know what? I hope that happens because then it'll like
What you said?
if my predictions fall on we go 82-0 every season.
I like that
I mean, listen, we have to dream. We have to some of us do. But yeah, I'm kind of sad I missed the morning Knicks. I'm butchering their name. The Brew Crew. That's their name, right?
Yeah, morning.
Morning Brew. Morning Brew Crew. They had a an event for the Boston game. I didn't even get to
Oh,
tell you about it. I
at
think I told
Blondie's.
you. Yeah, because Ebony has sent Queen and I the text. It was a link. They had an event, and I was watching a little bit of the live for it, but I'm sure there's gonna be people are gonna be with the playoffs coming having more events. Corey Lee said,
Yeah,
"Lady, take a shot of something tranquilo." I know, I do, I do need something because my nerves are bad with the injuries. I'm trying not to show it, but I'm like in the inside, I'm feeling uneasy, and I don't like it. But I am gonna
yeah,
go with the Knicks winning tonight because I feel like if with us saying the Knicks going 2-2, I think out of the next three, including tonight's game, this is the one they have to win. Because between the Warriors and then Sunday playing Cleveland, those are gonna be two. Yeah, I mean they may have to have Hartenstein playing that Cleveland game. You may need
yeah.
some height in that game. And I mean Sims is capable because he's strong, unlike the bigs that they have. Our centers and our bigs are like way stronger than Cleveland, but still, Donovan
He's
Mitchell's
still
gonna go
performing,
off.
and he's coming to his own. He just has to just continue to play. That's the
Yeah,
only way he's gonna, be able to read the game. Just and just how players, the opponents, the opposing players, play and just their style. So he's coming to his own. Um, you know.
yeah. I see Sims is getting a lot more comfortable now. I think it's like you said, he's getting the reps, so he's becoming a lot more comfortable in the game. And I'm gonna be paying attention to him too tonight because I want to see what he does. now that he'll be out there getting the majority of the minutes. I just don't need him to sprain his ankle on the tip ball, like he did. That's what got him out the last time. Well, here's a virtual hug. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Carly.
The next community, we got to be here for each other. Um, but yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens for tonight's game. Anything else that you want to talk about, or did I miss anything?
No, not really. We just coming on briefly. Wasn't really talked about anything. Just catching up on yesterday's game.
Yeah, and recapping from that very scary win, but that the Knicks got, and then just wanted to come on and do a pregame for tonight's game against New Orleans. Is Zion is playing tonight, right?
Yeah, I know he was listed day to day, but he'll wind up playing.
Yeah, because
And
teams are gonna look to take advantage with the Knicks being injured and then Jalen Brunson out. Yeah, so
yeah. See
you
now,
know,
yeah, only one is out is McCollum and Daniels. See, he was
mhm.
listed day to day, and just that fast, he's available, Zion. You know he gotta. Hey, I
They
tell
always
you,
do
everybody
that
wanna
against
come
the
to
Knicks.
Florida.
Yep,
Yep. Everybody
they
wanna be
do.
that Nick killer, man.
Yeah, I think that the Knicks have to. They're gonna have to watch him. Sims is gonna have to put a body on him. Precious is gonna have to put a body on him.
Yeah, cause Zion, he's strong, and
Yeah, he's very strong.
he's
He's
not
very
his
strong.
no
And he's
scrub.
quick.
He's another one. He's coming to his own. He's healthy. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see. Their record is not too far off from the Knicks. They're at 34-24. Um, very similar to the Knicks. They're sitting in sixth though in the East. Um, so yeah, we'll see what happens with tonight's game. And
And we
yeah.
definitely gonna need some bench production. That's for sure. That bench
But
is
who
gonna
do
need
they
to
have
come
on the
alive.
bench? Who's gonna be Jacob Toppin?
Bogey,
Oh yeah,
Burks.
Bogdanovich, Burks.
Yeah, Burks. Um,
Actually, I think those two guys need to definitely step up. So tonight's a
yeah,
good game for them to step up. To next man up definitely applies to those two for sure.
yeah,
Especially Alex Burks.
for
Because
sure.
he's been looking real lost. Like he just came from the G League and he don't know what it's like to play in an actual NBA game. I'm like, what's going on? Could you give us 20, 25 tonight? That'd be nice. We
Yeah,
already
yeah,
know Bogey could do it, but Alex Burke looked like I don't know. He just looks like he's still playing in Detroit. Like he hasn't converted over to a Nick yet.
yeah. Well, we'll see. But the game started, so
Yeah,
or at it.
I think Precious will keep him in check. He's
Yeah,
strong. I think Sims can too, but I think Sims has to just don't fall for every little thing. Don't get in foul trouble quickly. You can't afford we can't afford to have Sims getting in foul trouble so early and then going to the bench. They need him tonight. Corey Lee said if we are physical from the start to finish, we'll be okay. Yeah, and I think that's what it's gonna take. The Knicks have to be physical. I think also if Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo could play that great see the ball, see your man at the same time type of defense as they do pretty well, that can help also and get some easy steals, easy buckets. So, the Knicks are just gonna have to guard the paint too. And I think the Knicks don't want to rely on shooting a three so much. I want to see the Knicks take the ball inside, feed guys in the paint if they can, and just take the ball in. Let's try to get some easy buckets and not just settle for the threes. But
sure.
I think tip off is about to happen, guys.
Started. It's
Oh,
6-5 New Orleans.
oh, okay.
They don't
But
hit two threes already, but
you're like, all right, guys. We're out of here. Salute to the chat. Salute to Corey Lee. Knicks are nice. for joining us, Aj for joining us, and everybody else who's watching, who's not in the chat. He's Aj said Devo with a 50 piece tonight. Listen, it's possible. He is very much capable of doing that. Listen, I'll
Yep.
even take 35-40 from him if he got to put the team on his back. The Villanova boys, I have hope in those guys. Hopefully, him and Hart can have a nice connection and they could do something for us. And hell, even McBride, if he could step up and do something for us, I'm with it. So we'll see. But thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great night. Be safe out there in the rain. Enjoy this game. And we'll see you guys for a recap of this game and, yeah, later on in the week. Until next time, as we always say, let's go Knicks and peace.
They go, New York, go, New York, go.